Mark Zuckerberg has made some huge headlines recently talking about AI when he said he imagines a future where content creators are all going to be making AI clones of themselves. Now, this is a concept I've talked a lot about, throughout my kind of career path, working in marketing and working with influencers. Something I've often thought about is being an influencer might be one of the only jobs that isn't really, you can't really outsource it because you are the influencer. You need to be in front of cameras. You need to be kind of doing everything. But it seems like everyone's going to be making AI clones of themselves. So maybe I wasn't actually there. I recently saw a video on Twitter, which I'm sure a lot of people won't. It's a controversial video, so I'm not commenting on the video. But essentially, the influencer Speed, someone drove at him at full speed in a Corvette, and he jumped over the car as it was coming towards him.
Come, another, come!
He's a great athlete, jumps super high. The car goes under him before he lands. And I'm assuming they tried to do some sort of they timed this out. I'm hoping there was some sort of science and method to the madness, because obviously it seems like a stunt. It seems like he could have been killed or seriously injured in this. In any case, he did this amazing stunt, or this incredible stunt, and it went very viral. And of course, this, at the end, he was like, subscribe and like and whatever, all the social media things. And, no doubt his social media clout and audience grew a lot from this. It went viral everywhere. So the reason I bring this up is because I wonder, even when people are completely outsourcing themselves or making AI clones of themselves, their AI clone is not going to actually do that. And even if they made an AI clone that did that, it's like, well, whatever, it's an AI clone that did that. Like, something about a real human doing real things or saying real things, I still think is going to be the most important. And I think in a day and age where everyone can clone themselves with AI, the people that don't, or content that isn't, is going to become extra valuable. This is my thesis for doing this podcast at all. I've done a lot of AI generated podcasts like years ago before ChatGPT even existed. And the reason why this wasn't like my path when I decided to start this podcast in February last year, I thought maybe what if I just do like an AI news podcast where it just reads? Maybe I use ChatGPT to write the script or something. The reason I didn't go that way is because my thesis was that people wanted to hear a real person. I'm giving you real insights that I'm thinking of in real time, or I've pre-thought of, or I'm having conversations with people. There's there's buts, there's pauses. I'm not editing this a ton, as you know from this podcast. And my assumption is that people want that. They want that authenticity. They want a real person. They want my thoughts, my connections. Even if you don't agree with all my opinions on things, you probably want to hear my opinion because you know what people like me are thinking about certain topics, and it helps give you new perspective. Now, if it's just an AI doing this, I just don't think it's as valuable, because I don't know if it's possible for it to draw on its own stories and kind of experiences and different things. Now, I've thought of lots of really interesting things about how you could get around that, or kind of like give like an AI model, train it with its own backstory until it's a real person. Like, there's a lot of very interesting things I think people will do kind of while you open that tab in your brain. But I don't know. I think people are still going to really value authenticity. A real person doing a real thing is going to have a lot of value. It's going to move to a point where not everyone's going to do that. A lot of people will make these AI versions or clones, and they'll probably be very successful. But I do think that there's going to be more value in what is real. So all that being said, let's get into what Zuckerberg has specifically said on this, which I think is quite fascinating. Before we do that, I wanted to say today's episode is sponsored by AI Box, which is my very own no-code AI app builder and marketplace. If you've ever had an idea where you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to build this thing with some AI tools, create an app, and it's obviously out of your wheelhouse or realm, you need to get on the waitlist for AI Box. We're going to allow you to link together all of the AI models to be able to put in prompts, link them together, and build really powerful apps or workflows. We're calling them boxes. Post them on our marketplace, and you'll get a royalty anytime someone uses them. So the waitlist is at aibox.ai. We're launching soon, and I'd love to have you join the waitlist. The link, I'll leave it in the description. So what did Zuckerberg actually say about content creators? So he said he really just envisions a future where content creators are going to use an AI to create a clone of themselves to essentially help scale their reach and also manage their interactions with their followers, aka it's going to be messaging people and DMing people. Now, does that open a whole nother can of worms? Or we've seen a bunch of influencers recently who have been for lack of a better word, canceled or exposed for inappropriate messages and DMs with people. Like, I'm not saying that, like, I think these AI models necessarily are going to do that, but, like, what if an AI model did do that? What if you outsourced your AI model, your clone of yourself, and it started, like, saying inappropriate things or messaging people that were underage? Like, there's all sorts of, like, terrifying prospects, and then, like, you get canceled, or worse, you go to prison, or you had some sort of charges put against you, and it was, like, your AI model that did it. Like, who's liable? I don't know. That just seems like a horrible... I don't know. It seems kind of scary, right? Reputational damage. And I think brands have the same kind of concern for things they could do that could lose them money or be negatively impact their reputation. But it seems like brands right now are still using AI chatbots. So probably you could put safeguards in place to avoid that kind of content or, conversations. And I think really the AI models you use, if you trust them, you'll know that they probably won't do certain things, which are good. But I mean, I'm just bringing up like the most extreme risks, because these are things that people should be thinking about or concerned about, not because they are going to definitely be the reality, but because we need to definitely make sure they're not the reality, right? So that's why I bring them up. Okay, what does this actually look like? The other thing that I think is interesting that the Zuckerberg brought up is he said it's going to allow creators to maintain a consistent presence without being constantly active online. This is interesting, right? So he's like, yeah, sure, go do your trip to Brazil this summer and like go do your vlogging and stuff. But like, if you're like, with no cell reception for like 5 days in the jungle while you're getting your content, like, why not have your AI kind of post some things for you? And like, mostly it's all real, but every once in a while you have some like other stuff. I don't know. I mean, I feel like at that point you could have just like pre-scheduled content. Then there also is a point where it's like, how much content can one person possibly humanly make? So like, there's of course that conversation, and I don't know. And then it's like, well, you could scale it with the AI, but it's like, but how much do you really need to scale the AI? Like, do you need 100 posts a day? Does it do anything better for you? Is just whoever does 100 posts a day is going to do better than everyone else? I don't know. Like, interesting thoughts. If it's just spamming up the world, or if you're getting a competitive edge, interesting thoughts to consider here. So how would you actually personalize this is my question. And he kind of covers this. He said these AI clones or bots would capture the personalities and business objectives of their creators, providing a more personal and engaging experience for their audience. Yeah, I mean, this is just a clone. It's just an AI clone. How personalized is it? I hope it's personalized. I've had experiences with ChatGPT where it didn't do a great job. Recently, and I think maybe I might have accidentally used GPT-4 instead of GPT-4o, but recently, I am in France for the next 2 months. I was at a French restaurant with some friends, and they were asking about the menu, and I wanted to be sure I was getting the translation for them correctly. I speak French, but I'm definitely not perfect by any means. So I took a picture of the menu and I sent it to ChatGPT and was like, hey, can you translate this menu into English? It gave me a translation. I looked at it for a good 10 minutes, and right as the waiter came, I looked at something on the actual menu because I just wanted to cross-reference to make sure it was good. And I realized that ChatGPT had completely made up a fake menu. Like, this thing was not real at all. It was completely fake. Everything on it. It just took the menu and made an English version with its own things in. I don't know why it did this. I don't know if it was because I used the wrong AI model or not the most up-to-date one. But it's kind of a terrifying prospect because the waiter was like, all right, what are you guys going to order? And everyone was looking at me because they just told me to order for them. So I had to order for the whole table in 2 seconds with never seen the menu. Anyways, wasn't a great experience, and it really put a bad taste in my mouth for AI. And I'm like, geez, you really have to double check this. And this is kind of why I think something like AI Box that I'm building is so important. It's because AI Box is going to be full of what creators have essentially vetted the prompt and vetted the process, and they know that it's you can duplicate a specific prompt or task and get a good result every single time, and you can kind of check that result. You can see what it's created in the past. You go use these AI tools, and it's definitely going to give you a good result, because maybe just taking a picture and saying, translate this for me, wasn't specific enough. Maybe I needed to say, take the picture of this menu and line by line, give me a breakdown of every single item on the menu, starting from left to right, and a translation directly below it of it being in English or whatever. And you have to be super specific, and you cannot make anything up. I don't know, some crazy prompt like that. Now, did I think of that in the 2 seconds that I took that picture? No, but if I had one that was already pre-built and I just went to AI Box and searched for menu translator and uploaded a picture and it already had the pre-prompt, I don't have to know anything, and boom, it translates it for me, and it cost me half a cent. Would I have done that? 100%. So I think that these, and maybe it's not just myself, AI box, but I think these tools are kind of where people want to go with this, where you can guarantee a result that can be duplicated. So this is what I guess I'm also concerned about with these kind of AI creators is you want to make sure that they're giving a good representation of the actual creator and not just making up crazy stuff. Okay. So how is this going to work? Let's talk about efficiency and kind of expansion of all of this. So I think right now, using AI to clone stuff, it is definitely going to make you could call it be more efficient. You could say that you're able to expand, or you're able to be more, I don't know, like essentially you're just able to do more. As a content creator myself, I don't know. It's something about it just kind of rubs me the wrong way, but that's okay. I understand there's going to be a lot of people using it, and I'm sure there's a lot of great use cases, and maybe you sprinkle it in and it helps you do stuff, and that's cool. I'm worried about people that try to completely automate everything they do with it, but hey, I mean, if it's that or they don't do it at all, then maybe that's the choice that they choose, and they end up getting good results by coming up with a really clever prompt that's really authentic to them. I do think that is possible. You get a lot of very fine-tuned data, personal data about yourself, and really clever prompting. And I think you can get something very powerful. So I'm not completely knocking the concept. It just seems, I don't know, whatever. I'm sure you all think it feels inauthentic for sure. So why does Zuckerberg bring this up? Right now, there's a lot of integrations being talked about with Meta's platforms. So Zuckerberg is talking about integrating these AI tools within Meta itself. And he sort of suggested that creators would be able to leverage Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, other kind of Meta services to use their AI clones, actually deploy them. Sort of similar to what I think Personal.ai has done. I've had the CEO of Personal AI on the podcast in the past. They did a great job doing a round of a crowdfunding campaign on Republic, just like we did. They launched shortly after us. So very interesting company. A big shout out to them. But it's interesting because it feels like this is where Meta is going in the same direction, essentially. So I think this is a super fascinating topic right now. Zuckerberg really kind of said that his vision is a big shift in the content creation landscape. Right now, obviously, AI is not doing a majority of content creators' actual, production of their content, and he thinks that this could be a much bigger part of it. So in his interview that he recently did with this, which of course is kind of awesome, he did an interview with Rowan Chung, who, if you're not subscribed to his podcast, The AI Rundown, you should be. It's amazing. But he said, quote, content creators will want to use AI to scale their reach. And this is the big thing. He kept highlighting it over and over again, that it's all about scaling the reach. And a lot of people have just kind of said, like, what is the point? Do you always need to scale more reach and create more content and be an endless content creation machine? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. But it's a fair question. So very interesting times to be alive. I'll keep you up to date on how this rolls out. If I'm using any AI tools, I'll let you know to kind of scale what I do. Right now, I have kind of an army of interns helping me run everything, and they're doing a fantastic job. So shout out to the summer of 2024 AI Box internship team. You guys are crushing it. They're helping me with a lot of different socials and platforms and content, and kind of distributing, editing, chopping up what I create. Will I outsource that all to AI in the future? If it's good enough, possibly. Will I outsource the complete content creation in the future? I don't think I will, but I mean, I'll never say never. So, we'll sit here and we'll find out. Thanks so much for tuning into the podcast. If you enjoyed the episode today, seriously, it would mean the world to me if you could leave me a review on Apple or Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. On Spotify, you got to hit the About tab. On Apple, you can hit the stars, scroll down a bit on my channel, hit the stars, and say whatever you want. I really appreciate all of the comments and all of the reviews, and it helps me to know that I'm doing a good job and what I should cover next. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you all have an amazing rest of your day.